Hello everyone, welcome back to some more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. What's happened last time? It's been a while for me. If memory serves... yes, that's right. We were hearing and reviewing Hosonaga and Soseki's testimonies, and we found out that apparently one of the news people, the reporters, that did the article on Soseki's the interview with Soseki and Mikotoba, followed them to the beach and took a very incriminating photograph. And so yeah, basically we're now just trying to locate him, and yeah, that's where we are. So I guess with that being said, I guess let's kind of continue on. We're basically at the halfway point in this case, so there isn't too much left to go over. So yeah, that's pretty good. Anyways, let's get right into it. I'm sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray. Oh yeah, I think I'm just gonna make Susato's voice just normal, just because it's, I guess, for ease of use, just so it's easier for me to do, you know? Anyways. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was just scared of my failure coming to light. That's all. So, I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you'd stand by me to the last? I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No. In fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. I'm no better, you know. Oh. Even though in my heart I knew that you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato, I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no. I think the situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray? Yes? Can you find in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. Alright, I guess it's back to business with that out of the way. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Oh, how did her voice go? Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet, before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at the time? That's right. Just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. What was that? Okay, never mind. I thought something was wrong for a second. I just heard a sound. Oh well. Anyways. So I just don't understand how she possibly could have been stabbed like that. A great mystery indeed. Still, I can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It'll be alright. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm gonna prove everything you said you saw is true. Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the following proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified the blade by now. No, because not this one. It says here. Yeah, they can't actually detect it. You have to consult the university because they can't actually detect the wound. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Yes. Without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin. Chemical reagent? I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. Huh, what does it say on it? What does it say on it? Something Raymed? Raymed? I don't know. The label appears to be written in a foreign language that I don't know. It's German. It's German. So your knowledge of English is going to be of little help here, I'm afraid. Couldn't you have just written medicine on it in Japanese? Then we'd all be able to read it. German is the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet. It's this newspaper article. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how exactly this information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing. What? It was when the professor and Soseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swaned in and without any compunction said to Professor Mikotoba, "Oh, Professor, surely your guest would love to hear about your work on that substance there." It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So then, Soseki-san knew about the poison? Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too. This Memo-san. By the way, did that reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Well, I mean, it had to. How else did you get the photograph? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there. Oh? A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then presumably posted it anonymously to the police. Ah. Yes, that must be what happened. Yeah? Literally? What, isn't that trespassing? Because that's like, you're like by a known criminal. Isn't that trespassing when you think about it? Whatever. Different place, different time, different laws. Oh, sorry, something came up. I'll be back in a second. And I'm back. Sorry. I usually have my phone in front of me in case I need to like look up anything. And yeah, some like breaking news thing. So, came in. Well, don't worry. No emergencies just yet. Anyways. Let's keep going.
Counsel! We've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. It's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense Attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Yes. Ryutaro. What is that? Dragon. Let me see this. Taro. Taro's a food, right? Oh. Eldest son. Oh, yeah? And like eldest son, and the part Ryutaro. So, okay. That's interesting. Ray has put her faith in me now and has told me everything. So, I can't let her down. I have to prove what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day. Oh, I apologize if my video is starting to get, if my video starts to get shorter, or if my video is starting to get shorter, or if, I start to feel more tired. I'm literally doing this, like, an hour or so, after, an hour later than I normally do for reasons, but, whatever. 13th of August, 11:30 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, courtroom number 1.
I hereby call this court to order, as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Membamy. Prosecutor Ouchie, have you summoned the new witness?
Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share.
Oh?
What news? And why does he look so happy about it?
During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikotoba's laboratory at Yuma University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Mr. Albrecht's life.
Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course.
I had the Regent delivered to police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
And, counsel, what were the results?
This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade.
What? Are you sure about that?
I would stake the reputation of the police upon it.
Armed with the Regent, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake.
So no poison on the blade.
In short, the accused's feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. Now, the prosecution is ready to call in the new witness.
The newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness.
No trace of poison on the knife? But if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body?
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
What voice do I want to give him? Oh, well, let's see what works.
Right, and many memo of the Show You News. I'm what people like to call a journo.
What's a journo, Father? Do you know?
It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops while they're in print, so they're in the print next morning. And they don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news.
Oh, so yeah, is that voice good? I don't think whatever. It'll work, I guess. I don't know. Oh, so it was you who took this photograph, wasn't it?
Well, what do we have here?
I'm sorry?
Oh, brace yourself, people. Many Memo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play. Defendant by curiously handsome young lawyer in the Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold at 72 point in a 5-leg format for the morning edition.
Huh?
Right then. Let's start with your name.
Oh, it's Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Next, what made you want to become a lawyer?
I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose.
Ryotaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see.
I just borrowed Kazuo-sama's dream for a while.
By the way, my name is Taketsuki Ouchi. That's Taketsuchi Ouchi. The so-called Dark Horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart.
No, the readers won't buy that.
What?
Witness. Yes?
What this court demands to know is whether or not you are responsible for the taking of this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a journal if I didn't click quick when presented with a scoop like that now, would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with, and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my many-memoism.
Many-memoism?
Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself and Soseki-san. Yes, right, that was me. Many Memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Show You News offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's word had piqued my journalistic interest.
Miss Brett's words?
A criminal left to do as she pleases, just because she happens to be a British citizen? It's horse dung. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns.
Stay your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play.
Humph. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all right here. Right, here goes.
I should like to go... How is it? Okay, I'm sorry. I literally did not do her voice since, like, what? The first episode, the first case, so... I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coasts.
A serious criminal going on some junket. The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak on after them. To get the woman's story, so I could hammer her in the press.
Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph?
Oh, yes. I saw it with my very own journo eyes. From start to finish. Through the viewfinder of my trusty camera.
Thank you, Many-Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court.
You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death.
The camera never lies. Okay, let's see what he comes up with this time.
The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The English woman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the English woman to the floor. She stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journal spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough reeve of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot.
Reed screens, you say?
Right, you could see them clearly enough in that great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat. And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through so I can see the whole thing hotting up.
Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut?
Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish.
And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens?
Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime.
A tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose.
Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's minimalism in a nutshell. At last, it would appear that we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling.
Wait, what else did he say?
Oh, I believe we may be close to a verdict.
No!
Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful.
Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question.
What question?
Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published?
Oh, that's right.
It seems clear to me there are circumstances at play that are yet to be understood.
Ha! More pathetic excuses.
Very well then, Counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest. Alright then. Let's see. The camera never lies. Made of shoddly screens, there are plenty of gaps I can see inside through. Was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing. Throwing her to the floor. Poke lens through for a perfect shot, okay. Okay. Let me try this, see if we can find out what they're arguing about. So, you actually saw Memba-san entering the hut?
Yup, and she was raging like my journo spirit.
And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly?
You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing.
Talking about the poison, I suppose.
The student girl walked right up to the English woman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she'd laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs. The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism. But the student's rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time.
He really ought to work on his smiles first, though, to be honest.
Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mightily angry.
And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me.
Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film.
Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman as she stabbed her in the back. You sure about that?
Hold it!
Do you swear before the court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place?
Ha! The precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole head of scene play out, from start to finish.
I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed?
Right you are. It's all here in my mini memo pad. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the Englishwoman was on this stool at the back of the hut here.
Yes, the accused's own testimony confirms that.
She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted down.
It's my turn to testify now, try not to interrupt.
Yeah? Literally he did.
Then, the next moment as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other.
Yeah? Okay, Raiden.
What you described is a grim crime scene indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what many memoism says.
Okay. By the way, Many Memo-san, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy, rather than capture it on film?
Ha! Journals have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's all raison d'etre.
So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all?
Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in.
And that's something to be proud of, is it?
Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor. I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should be added to this formal testimony.
Father? What are you...
I will grant the defense's request. Many Memo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well, nihilism is the foundation of many memoism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless.
I never once set foot in the hut nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was there only as an observer. That's a lie. Because, if you guys didn't notice before with the pen, this symbol looks rather familiar, doesn't it? Okay, well it might. You never know. There's some sort of emblem here. Look. But it isn't a Yume University one.
It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray.
Alright. Now then, if you hadn't noticed, look at... Here, look at Many Memo's, look at the red sash on his arm. See if I can get a good thing with it. There it is, see? Same symbol. In other words, the pen is his. So, yeah, that's a lie.
Objection!
Many Memo-san, until now I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth.
You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of Show You News on my arm. In a way, that's more many-memoism.
Sadly, though, it seems that the journalists who write for those papers don't always show the same passion for the truth.
Well, what are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel?
Mini Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died.
What are you...
If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Membami.
Is it a coincidence, I wonder? That your initials are also R.M.
No!
Write-in Mini Memo. R.M. I think it's write-in, whatever.
That's horse dung. Can't you see? One of the central tenets of many-memoism is being a pencil user.
And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see on your right hand, there's a very obvious blue ink stain.
It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is.
Horsey horse dung!
Mini Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
Objection!
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse.
Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky.
The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky.
Huh?
And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is.
In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies.
Of course, Your Excellency. The clue in this fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is right over here, just the emblem.
Got it!
As well as the initials, there's also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will of course recognize, Mini Memo-san.
Goodness me, it's the emblem of the Show You News.
In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Show You News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Mini Memo-san, how do you respond?
Order, order. Explain yourself, witness. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets.
I've used nothing but honest tactics.
Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Show You News reporter, on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman.
An interview?
You never mentioned this before?
When exactly was this?
As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, as many memoirs say, the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, This court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it. Yes, alright. But, on one condition.
Condition?
In all good self-conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the other witness. Soseki Nozomi-san.
Soseki-san?
Oh, yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own, and brace yourselves. It's not a harmless one. It's big.
What?
Many memoism states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well. I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand.
Soseki-san hiding something? Alright. The witness's secrets, eh?
I asked the English woman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this right-hand man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why many memoism reveals demands that I reveal it now.
What did you ask her?
You mean to say that the victim...
The victim regained consciousness? And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
That's, true. Yes. He did, and that's not all. The woman gave a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused.
This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack? It wasn't even a conversation!
Yes, I did pose the withering English rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even. Counsel for the defense. I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. The court must and will know the truth. Absolutely, Your Excellency.
So the reporter's claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow? What on earth could have happened in that hut? Seriously. Yeah, well. We'll go for a little bit longer. We'll go for a little bit longer until a little bit after this. Okay, so I guess the first thing to do is ask whatever question Suzuki-san. Here.
Hold it!
What was the question? What question? What exactly did he say?
Well now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Right-Man?
Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying English woman?
Well, in truth, I'd been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sun, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then, all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Ray. I ran up the beach hut to see what was happening, to find the defendants leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Hosonaga-san saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan, a moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin!
But what did you ask her, Soseki-san? I asked her, who did this to you?
Don't protect this any longer. How did the woman respond?
She didn't. She said nothing in response.
But...
When in the stand, you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony. I will.
Who did this to you? But she never replied. She just lifted the trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant. Yeah?
Hold it!
She pointed at him? Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant? Soseki-san, is that really true? It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked, who did this to you? The Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength and to point a trembling finger at the back of the hut. Oh. Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today.
No. Soseki-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony?
But, fiddlesticks, I say!
This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese.
Yes, of course. The Englishwoman did point a finger towards the back of the hut, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. To somewhere at the back of the hut where nobody was standing at all. You mean that in your memory of the events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it, unclear. I'm very, very unclear.
Objection!
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may have barely been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly. But there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because, as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing. It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could have possibly committed this crime.
I am inclined to agree. And in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
No.
Oh. The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers hopes dash. 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susato. Unless we are able to identify the true culprits and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling, and the trial will be over.
But, well, that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet. Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find a clue we need. And, sorry to say, we're gonna find it next episode. Yeah, next episode I guess it kind of ends things off. There's not too much more to the case left, so I think here is a safe place to kind of end things off. End this episode off. Plus, let's face it, it's like almost 11 and I'm getting rather tired. I need to get more used to recording at like a little later or so. Maybe having a Gatorade or something handy so I can stay doped up on energy. Oh well. Anyways, yeah, with that being said, thank you all for watching and I will see you all next time.